Law School, welcome. This is a free astrotheology course. All right. Our textbook is The Gospel and the Zodiac. The Gospel and the Zodiac, The Secret Truth About JC, the Christ Figure. All right. The author is Bill Darrell-El. And I checked Amazon, and y'all can buy this on Amazon. So they have this, but they have an updated version. There's an updated version on Amazon. And it's very affordable, actually. But the link to the free PDF is in the description area of the video. So you can either get that and print it, or you can order a copy of the book if you want to support the author, okay? Maybe this evening or later I'll put a link to his book on Amazon. So you have a choice of downloading it or purchasing it. I appreciate him writing this book. All right, so we're on page 218. Page 218. The subheading is the equinoctial cycle, Aries to Pisces. So Aries is the beginning of the year according to modern astrology. So that would be spring, March, sometime around March 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Okay? And then the end of the year, which would be Pisces. The end of the zodiacal year, which is Pisces. All right? So Aries, the ram, and Pisces, the two fish. Now remember that the two fish are swimming in opposite directions. One is going north, the other one is going south. All right? So you have a fish with the head going this way down, that's going south. No, I'm sorry, the fish with the head going this way, the head is here, going south, and then there's another fish going in the opposite direction, which is north. All right? So we see the natural law of polarity, right? Opposites, or the extreme opposite ends of a line, okay? So we see polarity in that zodiac sign. The law or principle of polarity. For example, good and evil, right? The Christ, summer solstice. The devil, winter solstice. Good and evil. Polarity. All right? One and the same. It just depends on the degree. All right? Hot and cold. One and the same. It just depends on the degree and the perception of the man or woman, right? Whatever you're using to measure it. So these are all relative, subjective, okay? All right, so let's get into it. I'm trying to decide if I should start on the paragraph where we left off on. Yeah, I think I want to start. I'm not going to go into detail, but there's something I want to mention. So we'll begin on the second paragraph on the page. Such stories point to the imminent new age. So the imminent new age. So a zodiacal age is roughly, depending on who's saying it, roughly 2,160 years. Sometimes you'll hear 2,150 years, okay? So that's a zodiacal age. Now there is also a great year, which is roughly 20. If you multiply 2,160 by 12, that gives you the number of a great year, okay? So that's 25,000 something, okay? As the equinoctial point, this would be Jachin and Boaz, right? The covenant of labor and the covenant of grace, and whichever zodiac sign those fall in, or let me repeat that, whichever zodiac sign falls during the beginning of spring, that initiates the beginning of the spring or signals the beginning of the spring, and that signals the beginning of the fall. So spring and fall, those are the equinoctial points, all right? And the zodiac sign that those two seasons will occur in changes every zodiacal age, which is roughly 2,150 or 60 years or so, and it goes backward, all right? It goes backward through the zodiac wheel, not frontward through the zodiac. So hence you have the term the precession of the equinoxes. But you'll see, let's continue reading. As the equinoctial point moving backward through the zodiac, it says, see the forgotten language of the stars. We're going to go through that book next. Okay. As the equinoctial points moving backwards through the zodiac pass over from Aries to Pisces, right? So it's going backward, Aries to Pisces. Clear? The spiritual symbols, so keyword spiritual, all right? Keyword spiritual. What is spiritual? What does that mean? So I'm going to look at that as meaning religious. The religious symbols change. The religious symbols change. All right? The spiritual symbols change. Okay? Passed over from Aries to Pisces, the spiritual symbols of the people would change. Spiritual is religious, not the natural symbols. Remember, the Catholic Church did their best and is doing their best to destroy the natural law, to destroy it from our perception, right? They replaced it with what? Theory of evolution, all of the religions, all of the anthropology theories having to do with civilization, their origin and development. All of that is garbage. It's all garbage, okay? Meaning that it doesn't hold weight when you examine them. You need to believe, and then that takes you back to religion, right? You need to believe. All right? So it should be clear, I think, at this time, that the theory of evolution is really nothing but a religion. It's not science. No matter how many theories and how complicated and scientific they try to make it sound, the fact is that it's never been demonstrated in nature. So if you can't observe it, if it can't be repeated, it's crap. All right? You can use probability and billions of years, of time going by so that the probability could at least be possible. But some of these things are just so improbable that they could never happen in a quadrillion, billion, trillion years. But that doesn't matter. I think all of us are aware of that. All right? Which is why they talk about, or at least I think in the 80s and 90s, is when they began to talk about intelligent design, that there is a quote-unquote God, a creator, but that God, that creator used evolution. Y'all see how slick that is? See how slick that is? But the fact of the matter is this. That there was always intelligence and awareness. We have always been. There never was a time when man was not. Check it logically. You can never get something from nothing, ever. The only way that can happen is if what? If I come and sweet talk you, or somebody comes and sweet talks you, cons you, gives you a bunch of reasons and make those reasons sound logical, and make you have to first feel like you're stupid or they know more than you do to even consider, let alone accept what they say. But anyway, let's move on. 2,000 years earlier, the ram. 2,000 years earlier, the ram or lamb of Aries had entered human consciousness as the symbol of the age of Aries. Okay? So that's the age. That's the whole 2,150 or 60 years. That's a very generic symbol, right? So it applies to the masses over a large span of time. But there are symbols that are more specific that apply to smaller amounts of time too. But let's continue. And we're talking about symbols. This is the point I wanted to make. They have hijacked symbols that our ancestors used, and these symbols had a meaning in nature, not in religion. They had a meaning in nature. They were representative of something in nature or a natural phenomenon, not a religious thing, not a spiritual thing. But those or that organization, you go back in history, you see this is the Catholic Church, and then all of the so-called Western institutions who pushed the Roman law, okay, who pushed Roman law, they hijacked those symbols and then changed their meanings. They gave them mythological, they attached mythological stories to them, or stories that actually happened, but they claimed, they remixed it and they called them mythology. All right? They called it mythology. And then they gave the symbols a different meaning. Clear? Many symbols they reversed, or they made some other change to it, like the German swastika, which is the wheel of life. I see it all over. Here in Vietnam, you'll see it all over. But the Germans reversed it. It's going in the opposite direction. All right? And you see the evil meaning attached to it, right? So this has been done with all of our symbols. News stories, the Catholics, the secret societies, etc., their high priest, scientists, they've attached new stories, remixed the stories, changed the direction of the symbol, or made other alterations in the symbol, and then gave them a negative meaning. So they're using cosmic energy. They're using the symbol as a receptor or receiver of cosmic energy that they can then harvest to control the consciousness of the masses. That's what I'm trying to say. But we can take that power back. That's my point of going through this again. By reclaiming our ancestral symbols, reclaiming any stories that may have been attached to them. And then we imbue those symbols with the power that our ancestors had imbued them with, so that we can then harness it and use that power. to advance our causes and our state of mind. But first we got to get our mind collectively out of the gutter. And by out of the gutter, I mean out of religion and out of the dishonorable mindset. Okay? Out of the dishonorable mindset. All right? But it doesn't have to be everybody. Doesn't have to be everybody. It could be a small number. The 99th monkey principle is at work or is operative, okay? We just need a few. All right, maybe that few includes you. So get your courage together. All right? So let's continue. 2,000 years earlier, the ram or lamb of Aries had entered human consciousness. See, y'all? See that? Consciousness. These symbols have to enter our consciousness with a story based upon our ancestors' heritage. All right? Based upon nature. Based upon nature. We need to put that into the mass consciousness of our people. All right? So we're dealing with consciousness, awareness. Okay? I'll give you an example of how consciousness can affect you. All right? Imagine you are in a house and the lights are off and it's a thunderstorm. All right? And all of a sudden there's a flash of lightning and thunderstorm. See this in your head. And you see somebody standing in front of you with a knife. They're full of blood. Their clothes are full of blood. And they look pale. How do you react to that emotionally? What did you just feel when you saw that image? All right? So images affect how you feel and what you think, consciously and subconsciously. Okay? So let's continue. This great shift is a spiritual awareness. So y'all see, that's a religious awareness. A religious awareness is where you are looking for an external deity to do something for you, to give your energy to give your power to sit there and wait on that deity, to do things in terms of reverence, finance, whatever. Do whatever it takes, ceremonies, to please the deity. Whatever it takes. Y'all know what y'all have done in your own personal life. Some of you all have left your consort, your husband or your wife, for religion, for your camp, for your Christian organization, what have you. Some of you have broken up your families. I know I've seen a lot of parents in the religion that I was in who totally let their children suffer, thinking that that's what their deity wanted them to do so that their children could turn around. So I think I told y'all about the story of a friend of mine that I don't know his story. I'm speaking generally. But when people are suffering under pressure, so on and so forth, that's when they really need their support system, their family. And some people can easily be triggered into schizophrenia or some other mental illness or physical illness, right? They can develop high blood pressure at a very young age. And then their kidneys fail. Kidneys blow out. And now they're on dialysis at a very young age. That happened to my brother. Okay? So things like this can happen due to stress. All right? A lot of these religious organizations cause stress and disruption between families, which is genocide. All right, so all of y'all who are practicing that New Testament concept or that New Testament doctrine of not talking to, let's say, your family members because they leave the religion, they get disfellowshipped, excommunicated, or anything like that, and then you abandon them, thinking that that's going to help them turn around, right? And see that they need to follow the deity, the Christian doctrine. Well, that's already a form of genocide. Why? Because genocide is not just exterminating people. It's anything that disrupts families. This is why I always tell people Christianity is genocidal. If you don't believe me, you go look up the meaning of genocide. Go look up the meaning of genocide, and then you review that doctrine on disfellowshipping. All right, and other doctrines that pit family members against each other. JC said it himself, right? He said that families will become your worst enemy. Your enemies will be members of your own household. Why? Because you're following the Christian doctrine, right? And they're also born into a system of beliefs that involve Christian doctrine. So now y'all families are at odds with each other because of Christian doctrine. Or man and a woman can't get along together because the woman is in one camp and the man is in another camp. And they have problems dealing with each other based upon Christian doctrine or Hebrew Israelite doctrine. So what? The relationship is destroyed. The family is destroyed. All right, y'all see the genocide in that? Or what about this one? What about this one? The head of every woman is her husband. The head of every woman is her husband. Now, I've heard of some camps, I don't know if this is true, I've heard of some Hebrew Israelite camps where the woman cannot pray to JC, the husband has to do it for her. That's what people have told me that. But you tell me, what man or woman in their right mind is going to let somebody else make the decisions in their life for them who are not consistently making decisions for them or making the same decisions for them that they would make for themselves. Nobody's going to do that. You can't be happy doing that. You cannot be happy doing that. So what has to happen? A woman has to make her own decisions. Just like every man has to make his own decision. Now she may make a decision to follow you, right? And if following you is benefiting her and she feels like she's better off with you following you, she'll stay with you, she'll be happy maybe. But men, if you're making decisions that are benefiting you more than her, putting yourself above her, or your decisions are not panning out too well, your relationship ain't gonna work. That should be common sense. No. I can tell you what's natural. You respect her decisions and she respects yours. And y'all cooperate as equals. As equals. Cooperate. But for someone to pull a rank on you a man or a woman to pull rank on you and say, because I'm a man, you need to you need to do what I say because I'm a man, or because Christ said. No, that get tired real quick. That's going to get tired real quick. Some of y'all women, I know in the religion I was involved in, they suffered through that for decades because they didn't know no better. Where else would they go? What else would they do? If they left that religion, they would lose their family and their entire social network. So they stayed. Form of bullying, intimidation, genocide. Y'all take a look at it honestly. Forget about the doctrine. Just look at it outside of the doctrine. All right? All of the dynamics mentioned in the Gospels, the New Testament rather, all of the dynamics in the New Testament that affect families and communities. It's no wonder that autochthonous Americans, we Moors, you blacks and African Americans, Latinos, Indians, it's no wonder y'all don't do business, or we don't do business with each other. It's Christian doctrine. That's what it is. All right? That's what it is. It's divisive in nature. Divisive in nature. All right? And it's meant to be that way. Why? Genocide, doctrine of discovery. You really think they're going to give you something to help you unite and overcome their power? No. Doctrine of discovery is real. Unum sanctum is real. It's not for play or pretend. All right, it's meant to rob you and take you out of this life early before you get wise enough to figure out what's going on and you can challenge them, especially en masse, right? Get your labor from you, get your birthright, and then have you check out, expire early. So you never have a chance to figure out what's going on and challenge them. Now you should have an idea about why there are all of these pandemics and epidemics and new molecules and new medicines and such an urgency to get you to take them. And waive your right to seek legal redress if you're harmed. Many of y'all went for that. But anyway, let's continue. 2,000 years, I've already gone through that. Okay, this great shift in spiritual awareness has been celebrated by the Jews. So, y'all see celebrated by the Jews, you know that's religion. It's not bloodline. In the Passover, that's a religious celebration, right? In which the lamb was ritually consumed. Now that's paganism. Paganism and Christianity are one and the same. Because there were other, what do they call it in this, what's the term that they like to use? It'll come to me. But the Christians are not the only ones who celebrated the beginning of spring, all right? Clearly, all right? They just called it Passover, all right? So let's continue. Oh, mystery systems are religions, okay? So-called by these modern historians. In Mark's time, a new Passover was imminent. A new Passover I believe what he's talking about is the equinoctial point would move or had moved at the very beginning of the shift out of Aries into Pisces. In Mark's time, so spring would begin in Aries, in Pisces rather, and no longer, let me rephrase that. So springtime, when you look up, let's say 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, you look out at the horizon to the east, 5:30, 5:45 a.m. in the morning, look out just above the horizon, and you will see Pisces. All right, you will see the constellation Pisces. Whereas before you look out, and you will see the constellation Aries. All right, 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, just above the horizon, you will see Aries. Then when the zodiacal age changed to Pisces, when you look out, 5:30 in the morning, 5:45 in the morning, you no longer see Aries, but you see Pisces. All right, and that will last. Pisces would be on the horizon every morning, 5:35, 5:30, 5:45 every morning for the next 2,150 or 60 years or so. That's what this is talking about. In Mark's time, a new Passover was imminent, and this would necessitate a new ritual. Y'all see that? According to who? According to who? Why would this necessitate a new ritual? This time, there would be no lamb, since the age of Aries was over. The lamb had been slain. That's JC the Christ figure. The lamb had been slain. But note, y'all, JC the Christ figure never lived in real life. Not only that, if someone says, well, yeah, JC the Christ figure did live. Okay, well, we know from the grammar in the story that JC escaped. He was not slain. Simon, the Cyrenian, was slain. JC got away. We know that from the grammar. I'm referencing the Devil's Pulpit, so y'all go check that out. All right? Y'all go read that in the Devil's Pulpit. JC made his escape, so the lamb was not slain. All right? Furthermore, John's Gospel uniquely says that JC is the Son of God. Matthew, Mark, and Luke said that JC is the Messiah. Okay, so when you're dealing with the Messiah and the Son of God, that's two different things. The Messiah carries with it the expectations of the people regarding what a Messiah has traditionally done and is supposed to do. All right? Which has to do with warfare. JC the Christ figure didn't do any of that. All right, he didn't fulfill any of those expectations. All right? But anyway, let's continue. In Mark's time, a new Passover was imminent, and this would necessitate a new ritual according to who? All right? Does it necessitate a new ritual? He gave no citation, no reason why. We just need to accept it. And I don't accept it. If we are to do a new ritual, show me the basis for it. Where did you get that from? Otherwise, you're just talking. All right? Or trying to lead the reader into a situation that you want them to believe. Narrative transportation. Y'all see this? See, if you question that this would necessitate a new ritual, if you question that, then everything that follows has absolutely no significance. You can disregard it. Why? Because you need to accept that there has to be a new ritual. So if you don't accept that, then everything he says that's associated with that further down in the paragraph, you can disregard it, right? Because he first needs to prove that a new ritual is necessary. And he has not proven that. He just made a statement. In Mark's time, a new Passover was imminent. Okay. Now what? And this new Passover would necessitate a new ritual. Where's your evidence? Where's your citation? Prove it. This time, there would be no lamb, since the age of Aries was over. I'm not questioning that. Okay? Whether or not the age of Aries is over. For me, at this point, that's insignificant. This time, there would be no lamb, since the age of Aries was over. The lamb had been slain. Who's the lamb? JC, the Christ figure. Christianity, in the first 300 to 600 years or so, there was a lamb associated with the cross. It wasn't until 300 or 600 years later, possibly 600 plus years later, I just don't remember the date right now, that a man became associated with that cross. Now, I've shown the image of the lamb and the cross, and I went over the dates with the scholars in the 506 Curses course that I teach every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 10 a.m. Everybody's welcome to come. Make sure you read the class description. The link is in the description area of this video. All right? So my point is this. Nobody ever associated a man being crucified on a cross until possibly 600 years or more. Let's say 300, 600, 700 years after JC, the Christ figure, was allegedly born. Therefore, the lamb had not been slain during Mark's time. Y'all see? But some of y'all might disagree. But again, let me just say this again. JC made his escape. He was not hung up on a cross or a stake. He made his escape. Next point. Next point. There was not a man associated with hanging on a cross until 300, 600, 700 years after JC, the Christ figure, was allegedly born. So how is it then that the Christ was slain in Mark's year? JC made his escape according to the grammar. It was Simon, I think it was Simon the Cyrenian. Go check it in the Devil's Pulpit. I've probably been saying the same thing for the last 5 or 10 minutes. Let me move on. All right. But certain elements of the old ritual, their meaning transformed. So, remember, one moment. But certain elements of the old ritual, their meaning transformed, would remain. So y'all see where this is going? You see where it's going? In every new age, there is the idea of breaking with the past, symbolized in the original ceremony. So this is a continuity of the ceremony, right? In other words, you give the people what they're used to. Give them what they're used to. Just change it up a little bit. continuity of the ceremony. Make it easy for the people to accept. That's what they're saying here. In every new age, there is the idea of breaking with the past, symbolized in the original ceremony by the unleavened bread. Now here, who's carrying bread? Oh, Virgo, right? She has a stalk of wheat or the stalk of corn in her hand. So there's a footnote. It was customary to leaven a batch of bread with a piece of dough from an earlier batch. So there was continuity from one branch to the next. I knew that was coming. Unleavened bread destroyed this continuity. So y'all think carefully about this before you accept it. Okay? Why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? Because with the beginning of every zodiacal age, let me rephrase that. With the beginning of every zodiac sign, let's just look at it, 12 zodiacs for the year, 365-day year, right? This is the way it's supposed to go. The new zodiac comes in, boom, big energy, boom. Old zodiac going out, right? Old zodiac ending. A little bit of energy, right? Because it comes in, big energy. Big energy, huge energy. And then, what? The energy starts to what? Dissipate because it's being used. When it gets to the end of that period, the energy is very weak. And then the next zodiac comes in, boom, the energy is boom. For example, when winter transitions to spring, okay, you're in the height of the winter, let's say December. Height of the winter, extremely cold. But when you get into March, the winter energy is low, right? The sun has been ascending upward. Daylight hours have been steadily increasing since December 25th. And then, bang, springtime. The sun passes over, going north, passes over the celestial equator going northward. Spring energy is boom, right? The winter energy is weak, okay? And then what's going to happen? That strong spring energy, at the beginning of the spring, it becomes what? It weakens. What do we see? If y'all from Ohio, New York, Illinois, you know, all of those East Coast states, y'all know that the transition from spring to summer, nobody needs to tell you, right? You know it. Beginning of spring. Clearly, beginning of spring. But the spring energy begins to die out. And then summer energy is like what? Bam! Bam! Strong, right? It's hot. Everybody knows what summer is if you're from New York, Delaware, Illinois, right? The East Coast. Y'all know the difference between the beginning of spring and the end of spring, beginning of summer, and the end of summer. So what's my point of saying this? Since a new season comes in, bang, strong energy. Why? And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm talking about it. Why would you need the continuity of a ritual from one zodiac sign to the other? Why does it survive that strong energy? Why is that ritual still strong enough to survive the beginning of a new season? Y'all see what I'm saying? Why doesn't the energy of that ritual die off and it end? Just like springtime ends, just like summer energy gets weak and is overtaken by fall energy. Fall energy gets weak and is overtaken by winter energy. All right? So the end of one season is the energy is weak, but the beginning of that next is super strong energy. So why is it that the ritual in this case that they're talking about, the bread, or any ritual associated with that why doesn't it also die out because the energy is weak? It stands to reason that when the energy of that zodiac sign is weak, then everything associated with it will also be weak and end. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying think about it. We need to investigate it. Because perhaps there should not be a continuity of rituals. Maybe it should be a completely different ritual altogether. All right, y'all? So if there's a continuity of rituals, that means they can do what? They can empower those rituals with cosmic energy and then keep them going. Keep them going and have an excuse to keep them going. Right? Let's continue. In every new age, there is the idea of breaking with the past. That's reasonable. But he still doesn't cite anything to prove it. But we see that with nature, don't we? We see that with nature when there's a new season. For example, when winter is over, you stop wearing coats and jackets, right? And earmuffs, hats, and electric socks, right? We even stop eating certain kinds of food in the winter, don't we? And in the spring, we begin to eat, our whole diet changes, right? Very often according to the season. In every new age, there is the idea of breaking with the past, symbolized in the original ceremony by the unleavened bread. Now, our ancestors recognized the beginning of the natural year as autumn, the harvest time, right? Hence, that would be Virgo having a stalk of corn or wheat in her hand. Maybe this is the original ceremony that he's talking about. I don't know. Maybe they're relating this to Christ saying, "This means my body," the bread, right? Remember the Lord's evening meal, Last Supper. This would remain as part of the new This would remain as part of the New Testament, a new celebration. Y'all got it? Eat the bread, it means my flesh. Drink the wine, it means my blood. All right, that's what he's talking about. See the continuity? All right? But it would take on an added significance representing Virgo, the maiden with the sheaf of wheat. There you go. Whose qualities complement those of its polar opposite sign, Pisces. Okay, so there you go. So Pisces and Virgo are polar opposites. So what's happening here? It's just like good and evil. Polar opposites, right? You need to have one without the other, and you can find out about the one by exploring the other. Y'all see that? You can find out about one polarity by observing, exploring, and studying the other polarity. Y'all see it? So in this case, Pisces and Virgo, you can study them and you learn about each one. And remember, they're just polar opposites. Okay, just like hot and cold, like I talked about earlier, good and evil, they are degrees. Okay, they are degrees. Or in other words, the same thing. It's just the degree of it, right? All right. And that's significant about zodiac signs. Okay, when you find the zodiac at their polar opposite, then you know that that's actually one energy. That's actually one energy. What matters is the degree of that energy. Y'all hear me? Hot and cold, same energy. The degree makes it hot, the degree makes it cold. All right? And the degree would be based upon what? Your perception, and also what? What you can feel. What you can feel is, or experience is hot and cold, right? And actually your perception is based upon what you feel, so it's concrete, it's based in nature. Okay, so polarity. One of the Hermetic Principles is polarity. This would remain as part of the new celebration. Y'all got that? Y'all got that? So what this author is telling us is that when a zodiacal age changes, whichever zodiac is on the east, whichever at 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, whichever zodiac sign is at the horizon when you look toward the east, in this case Pisces, then that means the zodiac sign at its polar opposite. This regardless of what the zodiacal age is, whichever zodiac sign is at the horizon, that ritual, whatever ritual is assigned to that zodiac sign at the polar end will have continuity. In other words, that ritual will be seen or followed through, or a version of it will continue in that zodiacal sign. Y'all got it? So Pisces and Virgo. All right, Virgo, the wheat, the bread. And so in Pisces, there's a ritual that involves wheat or bread. JC says, this means my body, take it and eat. This is the wine. Wine is a product of the harvest, right? The grapes are ready to be harvested and to make wine in the autumn, the covenant of grace. Y'all see it? So now we see these two rituals continuing in Pisces, which is the fish. So that would apply for each zodiac sign. All right? Clear? All right. Oh, let's continue. This will remain part of a new celebration, but it would take on an added significance representing Virgo, the maiden with the shaft of wheat, whose qualities complement those of its polar opposite sign, Pisces. Y'all got it? All right. All right. So that means that in every zodiacal sign, that's the zodiac that's on the horizon in the morning, when the sun starts to rise, at the polar opposite end, whatever ritual is associated with that ritual will have continuity, or it will be seen prominently in whatever zodiacal age you're in. All right? So that means we should be able to look back in history and see this. We should be able to look back in history and see it. And now what you have before you, if the author is correct, what do we have before us? We can look at the major rituals of any era of time. At any era of time, whatever that ritual might be, we identify it. We identify what zodiac sign it's associated with. And then at the polar opposite end, that tells us the zodiac sign that was rising above the horizon during that time, the zodiacal age. Y'all see, do you see how I did that? You can do the same thing. Thus, The bread of Virgo's harvest is linked with the Christ, quote unquote, divine. See John 15, Christ the vine. What vine? A wine, a grapevine, right? Wine, symbolic of all celebration, which gladdens our heart but takes away our will, is like all drugs, Piscean. Mythologically, it belongs to Dionysus. Y'all know Dionysus is Bacchus. So what is this, Bacchus in the Roman mythology? What is this telling us? Bacchus is featured prominently in Christianity, the goddess of wine. Christ himself said, drink the wine is my blood. When you drink something, when you eat something, does it not become part of your constituency, part of your body? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Our body will digest it and consume the nutrients. It becomes part of us. All right? Notice what it said. Wine, symbolic of all celebration, which gladdens our heart, it makes you feel good, but takes away our will. Does Christianity not take away your will? Does it not take away your will, Christianity? Yes, it does. How do we know? Because you're waiting on an external deity to do something for you that you should do and can do for yourself. I'm going to wait on the Lord, my Jesus. You ain't got to do nothing. When JC come back, all of that foolishness. It takes away your will to stand up like a man or a woman and take what belongs to you. It makes you passive. Passive. Religion is the opium of the people. Okay, the wine. Bacchus. It also makes you what? Bacchus was a pervert. Right? Pervert. And y'all see that the religious people are all perverted out. No debate on that. All right? Mythologically, wine belongs to Dionysus. Bacchus, Dionysus is Bacchus in Roman mythology, god of the vine, who died and was resurrected. So there you see a JC parallel, right? There you see a JC parallel, continuity. All right, let's continue. It is this quote-unquote new wine, the wine of the new age, right? You don't put new wine in an old wine thing. I forgot the verse. Which JC will drink in the kingdom of God. Excuse me, Matthew 14:25. Do y'all see what's happening here? Now I'm very curious why the author didn't point to the Last Supper, right? Eat the bread, this means my body. Drink the wine, this means my blood. Why didn't he put this in the paragraph? Probably because he didn't want you to think of it. Because that's the Lord's evening meal. Christ is resurrected, brought back to life, right? Easter. I don't know why he didn't put that in there. If it were me, I would have put it in there. Maybe he knows something I don't know. All right, so we see continuity with bread, the wheat harvest, and the wine harvest, the covenant of grace, right? Those two ceremonies being prominent in the Piscean age, the Christianity age. All right? All right. In John's Gospel, the Last Supper, oh, here it is, okay. John 13 contains Piscean themes, even though it is not said to be a Passover celebration. JC rises from the table, takes cloth and water, and begins to wash the feet of his disciples. Oh, here we go. This is supposed to be getting, this sounds like they're going to bring up Joseph from Egypt, who selflessly cared for the Egyptians. Let's see where he goes with this. So Christ rises from the table, takes cloth and water, and begins to wash the feet of his disciples. The feet, as Millennius tells us, are ruled by Pisces. The feet are ruled by Pisces. I wonder why the feet are ruled by Pisces. Is it because the feet don't want to follow the brain? Your will says one thing, but your feet says another, or your feet do another. I don't know. The feet and the will maybe are, like Paul said, what he wants to do is not what he does. I don't know. I have to think about that. Why are the feet Pisces? But the most important Piscean element of the story is the self-abasement. I knew it was coming. The self-abasement, humility, and service that JC shows. BS. BS. So we're supposed to project the self-abasement, the humility, and service that JC shows onto the Catholic Church, onto Christian religions, and onto Hebrew Israelite camps. Y'all see the mind game here? These are the virtues that were to inform the Piscean age. And they're getting these virtues. I went over this in the video presentation, I think Pisces number 19, where the scholars said that Joseph was probably a Pisces. All right, you'll get that on page 206. Page 206. Most authorities give Joseph as the Piscean son of Jacob. As a dreamer of dreams, he seems to fit the characteristics of the sign that is Pisces better than the rest. As a dreamer of dreams, okay? What does that have to do with Pisces? Dobin thinks that the fact that no tribe of Israel was named after Joseph, his sons Ephraim and Manasseh gave their names to tribes in his stead, indicates the quote-unquote hidden qualities of Pisces. I don't see any logical connection between them. Dubin thinks that the fact that no tribe of Israel was named after Joseph, quote, not a quote, but this is in parentheses, his sons Ephraim and Manasseh gave their names to the tribes instead. Okay? So there's no tribe of Joseph. This indicates the quote-unquote hidden qualities of Pisces. So because there's no tribe of Joseph, therefore Joseph must be Pisces. Why? Because Joseph is hidden. He's hidden. His two sons are tribes instead of Joseph. Therefore, Joseph has to be Pisces. Therefore, Joseph's personality, all of the good that he did toward the Egyptian people and his own, his selflessness, his service, his honesty, all of that has to be Pisces. Y'all see how ridiculous that is? That's on page 260. Scrap that. Well, I'm going to scrap that. I don't want to hear it. I don't got time for the foolishness. All right? These are the virtues that were to inform. I'm back on page 219. These are the virtues that were to inform the Piscean age. Y'all hear that? Let's clarify this. Some scholars, some hybrids, troglodytes, Paleolithic, everything else, Neanderthals, colonists, people who are practicing and maintaining the doctrine of discovery and unum sanctum against the autochthonous rightful heirs of the planet and all of its resources and cosmic energy. These people who have been working against us, outwardly and secretly, okay, secret society members, got together and made a decision that Joseph is Pisces. And because it's hidden, y'all listen to this, because Joseph is not a tribe, Joseph was hidden. Well, Joseph, first of all, was not hidden. Everybody almost in the world, at least the Western world, knows about Joseph, the story about Joseph. So how is Joseph hidden? It's no secret that Joseph's two sons, tribes are named after his two sons, and there's no tribe named after him. That's not hidden. This is ridiculous. But they expect for you to believe it because they said so. But we are more aware of their history of deceit, their lust for power and control, and to see you on the bottom for eternity. So are you in your right mind going to tell me that you accept what these scholars, what these Han Umans are telling you, that Joseph is Pisces, and that all the good that Joseph did supersedes the negativity, the extreme toxicity of Pisces, according to the ancient Egyptians? Who do you believe, the ancient Egyptians or the Han Uman hybrid troglodytes, or even the offspring of the Nephilim? See, there are hybrids who are both Nephilim, Raphaim, whatever the line is. And then there are the Han Umans, the monsters, half man, half chimpanzee, etc. And then there are the Han Umans who may have Nephilim blood. All right, and not all are pale-faced. Not all are pale-faced. Who are you going to believe? Them? Who are known predators? Known predators? Known KILLERS? Who are you going to believe? Who are known to cast spells using the pen? See, if you've been around Zion Law School long enough, you will know that they rule through the pen, through stories. And they need you to accept them as authorities. In other words, they need you to believe Whatever it is they tell you, they need you to question yourself, to believe in them more than you believe in you or anybody who looks like you. All right? Once they get you to that point, you're finished. That's why you have to abandon religion totally, like a drug. Stop cold turkey. These are the virtues that were to inform the Piscean age. Our collective failure to embrace them. What virtues? Self-abasement, humility, and service. Our failure to embrace them, that means your failure to go to church, give them money, give them your energy to work on their projects, whatever it is they want you to do, that's what they're talking about, your collective failure. Not serving your own people. Not activities to free yourself and your people. Don't get it twisted. This is service to the church, to your Hebrew Israelite organization, etc. Our collective failure to embrace them should leave us a little skeptical about the brotherhood promised by Aquarius. All right, remember, people are going to get beat up so bad that they're going to have to work together in Aquarius. Times are going to get that hard. But one thing is certain, as we stated on the threshold, as we stand on the threshold of a new age, the symbols will change once more. The symbols will change once more. So, Moors, autochthonous men and women, should we not control what those symbols are and how they change? Right? If they're going to change, shouldn't we determine what those symbols are, the stories associated with them, and what the change is going to be? We have the power to do it. It's just, do we have the self-discipline and will to do it? The age of the fish, that's Pisces, and the feet is coming to an end. I just got a thought. What if the feet are Pisces because JC ran away, he made his escape. He ran away on his feet to make his escape, duplicity. He's supposed to be up there on the cross or the stake, but he ran away. Duplicity. Huh? Maybe that's why, I don't know. A new Passover is upon us, and we can legitimately, if a little apprehensively, ask with yeats, what rough beast it's our come round at last, slouches toward Bethlehem to be born. All right, that's the end of the chapter. 20 videos it took to get past Pisces, y'all, to complete Pisces. It took us 20 videos, but we did it. We completed Pisces in 20 videos. Islam to all the Moors. I'm Dr. Yasafa. If you feel it in your heart to support my work, if you see the need to have our own book of the law written in Ancient Ibaryath and easy to understand modern English, send your donation to paypal.me/Zion Law School. My Cash App account is closed, so don't send it to Cash App. All right, send it to my PayPal. The link is in the description area of the video. If you don't want to do that, but you still want to learn and get educated, I have links to about 7 or 8 books that I've written on Ancient Ibaryath. You can learn Ancient Ibaryath and linguistic principles. You can see how this stuff works. You don't need any Hebrew language experience. You just get in where you fit in. It's $10 a month for the subscription. Cancel anytime. All right, that's for the one-on-one Ancient Ibaryath online class, streaming class. Available 24/7. Links to the books that I have written on Ancient Ibaryath. Y'all go buy them, support my work, get yourself educated, you and your heirs and friends. And then also, I have a live class that I teach every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Islam to all the Moors. Thank you for your support. I see y'all on the next one.